Alright, so you want to buy a private island. Or at the very least, you want to know what actually happens after you wire the money and take ownership. First of all, a private island can cost anywhere from $5 million to $500 million, sometimes even more. That's more than a commercial airliner. It's more than the GDP of some small island nations. But here's the strange part. The person or company operating the island usually doesn't own it. And more importantly, how does owning a $500 million piece of land actually make you money? Because in island ownership, ownership is a completely different business than operation, and it's far riskier than it looks. When people hear private island, they imagine pristine beaches, crystal clear water, and unlimited luxury. But a modern private island is essentially a floating, self-sustaining industrial operation. It consists of thousands of tons of infrastructure, specialized construction, and complex systems designed to function in isolation from the mainland. There's the main residence, guest accommodations, power generation systems, water desalination plants, waste management facilities, dock infrastructure, and communication networks, all built for an expected operational life of 30 to 50 years. Take a large island purchased from a major seller or private broker. But the prices are not random. It all depends on the location of the island at that time, the type of infrastructure already in place, the capacity of development you want on your island. And then there's global tourism demand, the ultimate wild card. Island prices don't behave like traditional real estate. They behave like volatile stocks. When tourism booms and luxury markets surge, then island prices surge. During downturns, they collapse dramatically. For example, during the economic crisis of 2008, some island values dropped more than 40% in a single year. Islands that cost $100 million to develop were suddenly worth $60 million before they even generated a single dollar of revenue, simply because demand dropped. In the private island market, there are three main players: island sellers, the island operators, and the island owners. And almost always, they're completely separate entities. For example, a global luxury brand like Four Seasons or Soneva operates islands across the Caribbean and the Maldives. You see their logos on the resort signage, but they do not own all of those islands. In fact, many operators prefer to own as few as possible. Many are simply chartered or managed under long-term agreements. So who holds the deed to that $500 million piece of paradise? It might be a Russian oligarch with a family office in Monaco. Wealthy individuals from Eastern Europe control roughly 15% of the world's most exclusive private islands. It is a multi-generational art form of buying low and selling high. It could be a German investment fund where everyday citizens pool their money to buy a single island for tax benefits and diversification. It could be a Japanese conglomerate, massive financial entities that buy islands purely as depreciation assets on their balance sheets, or even a private equity firm operating out of a sleek office in New York, London, or Dubai. These owners don't care about hospitality. They don't care about the logistics of getting guests from the airport to their beachfront villa. They just rent their islands. So owning an island is basically a massive high-stakes leasing business. To make your money back, you have to lease it out. There are three main charter types, each with a vastly different risk profile. Number one is the management contract. It is a safe bet. Its operator manages the island for a fixed annual fee or a percentage of revenue over a specific period. For example, $2 million per year for 10 years, or 20% of all revenue generated. So, the owner provides the island, maintains the infrastructure, handles insurance, and covers major capital expenditures. The operator handles the daily operations, guest services, marketing, and staffing. If rates are high when you sign, you lock in strong guaranteed returns. But if the market surges right after you sign, you're stuck at the old rate. Number two is the bareboat charter. The operator rents only the island. They handle absolutely everything from hiring staff, buying insurance, maintaining infrastructure, and managing all operations. For the owner, this is lower income but almost zero involvement. Hand over the keys and wait for the monthly check. Then comes number three. That is the spot market. Islands are rented on a per event or seasonal basis. Rates swing wildly based on current events, seasonal demand, or sudden geopolitical crises. This is where owners make generational wealth. When a celebrity wedding or major corporate retreat books your island, spot rates go parabolic. Islands that usually rent for $50,000 per week were suddenly commanding $500,000 per week. Owners became millionaires in a matter of months. But the hangover is brutal. In 2023, as travel normalized and luxury markets contracted, many of those rates fell by over 70%. How do these owners afford the islands in the first place? Because almost no one pays cash. The typical financial structure is 30% equity and 70% bank financing. specialized maritime and real estate banks provide colossal loans secured by the island itself. So, to protect themselves, owners use a legal shield called a special purpose vehicle. If a wealthy magnate owns 10 islands, they do not own them under one massive corporate umbrella. Instead, they create 10 separate shell companies, often registered in the Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, or Panama. One company, one island. Why? Because if an island faces environmental damage, a lawsuit, or goes hopelessly bankrupt, the rest of the portfolio is safe. Liability is contained, but there's a massive problem lurking here. Let's say you borrow $350 million to buy a $500 million island. A year later, the market crashes and the resale value drops to $300 million. You're now underwater on your loan. Collateral is worth less than the debt. The bank panics and demands cash. If you can't pay, they seize the island. Island ownership history is littered with the corpses of over-leveraged companies and individuals who thought they could weather any storm. Let's assume you managed the debt perfectly. You still face another enemy: regulations. An island physically lasts 50 years, but environmental rules are currently turning the industry upside down. Push to protect marine ecosystems means sudden mandates for new waste systems, coral reef protection protocols, and massive environmental impact assessments, costing millions per island. Furthermore, what happens if you develop your island today for luxury tourism to find out in 10 years that the global standard is ecotourism and carbon neutrality? Your island becomes a stranded asset. Owners own, owners Greg owner earlier early owner owners go own owners owners with the and the Buy low, charter high, sell high. And when an island finally reaches the end of its useful life as a luxury destination, it still holds value. It can be redeveloped, converted to residential use, or sold to conservation organizations. Operator stays lean. The owner takes the financial hit. This separation of ownership and operations spreads risk across the global financial system. When an operator goes bankrupt, the islands don't disappear. The owners simply take them back and recharter them to a competitor. The companies may die, but the island keeps generating value. Insurance for a private island is astronomical. Comprehensive coverage, including liability, property damage, and business interruption, can cost $1 to $3 million per year. Non-compliance can result in fines, operational shutdowns, or forced divestment. Climate change adds another layer of risk. Rising sea levels threaten low-lying islands. Increased hurricane intensity puts Caribbean and Pacific islands at greater risk.